bright tonight. Don't lose your light.
So first of all, I want to thank you for all the greetings. My mother-in-law passed away, and some people, at least in Denmark, knew about it, and we had flowers and all kind of things. Thank you very much. And also for you sharing your experiences, and also for the donations. Thank you very much. Today it's subject the kidneys, and I must tell you first of all, I am not a specialist in kidneys, but I am very interested in what the sound can do for them. And the nature of sound is that it is supporting our body's ability to heal itself. It's, you can imagine, if we want to help your country, and you know, how can we help them? We give them food, we give them energy to survive. And that's the same thing we're doing to the body when we add sound and when we sing for the body. So the NG and the hung, which many of you who have joined before know, but I just mention it again. NG hung, which is sitting up behind the nasal cavity, is adding energy. It's adding energy, and it's activating a place that might have been not so activated or might have stopped working so well. So that's an energizing sound. Hung. And the ha is lifting the NG to work properly and to activate the central nerve system. That's a short thing. Another thing is the M, another consonant. M is the horizontal sound. You can feel it. Try to say In a moment we're going to do it all at once, and if many people do it in the same room, you can really get a nice feeling of totally, you know, quietness inside. But the M actually is the horizontal, like it's symbolizing the water, whereas the fire is the vertical, and the water is the M. And is fire, activation, soothing and washing and cleaning and also detoxing. Both are detoxing, both energies. So the M is related to the kidneys. And why could it? That's what I anyway experienced, that the M is. Because the kidneys are purifying all our fluids, the blood, and creating the urine, but also the kidneys are in charge of the salt balance. And when we say the salt balance, it means also the electrolytes of the organism, because salt is very easy carrying energy and also carrying chemical signals, for example. In the hypothalamus, the beak of the inner bird's head, it's drawn very loosely up here, and the pituitary, which are two of the trinity, pineal, the hypothalamus and pituitary, but especially here, they are in charge of telling the kidneys how much salt there should be in the body, how much liquid, and all is a matter of keeping the balance. Too much is not good, too little not good. And again, we have a certain thing about the kidneys here. The kidneys, there are two kidneys. So we are coming down in duality here. Two kidneys, two ovaries, and you know, two of everything down there. And the kidneys' work is to keep the balance. And right now, in the situation we have today, we really need to keep the balance. We're challenged in all ways, also emotional and also physical. The emotional part we'll take care of with the M when we start to sing in moment. We will soothe and try to calm down our kidneys with the M sound. And the physical part we will take care of with the hung, and maybe hung, a mixture of hung and M. You can experiment with that, and where we will simply uh, add energy to the kidneys and try to balance them. Now I'm coming back to my mother-in-law who died 4 days ago. I loved her very dearly, and she died very sudden in a way. I mean, everything is how it should be. She's 94 years old, but she fell late at night and got a fracture in her hip. And she was hospitalized, and we were visiting her, and who would expect somebody to die from a fracture in a hip? She was very healthy. She'd just been examined, and she said, my heart, everything is fine. And she was quite kind of proud of that. But then after a few days, we get a call from the medical doctor from the hospital and says that her kidneys are in a very bad condition. And we couldn't believe, okay, she's going to die from something with the kidneys. And I've been reading about the kidneys all this week because of this webinar, so it's a little kind of strange, And her kidneys hardly worked. And they tried to make them work by medicine that will boost the blood pressure. And why? Because the blood pressure is also a part of the kidney's work. The blood pressure is going up when the salt concentration is going up. That means less fluid, and then the salt concentration will go up. And when the salt concentration will go down, the blood pressure will fall. That's a simple way of saying it, and that's how I understand it from all the things. Really many things to read about the kidneys. But anyway, she died actually from a kidney shock, and that means that you can actually have a shock sitting in the kidneys. And when I hear that, I just think about the flight freeze and flight situation where an animal is attacked and it can choose between the three: fight or flight or freeze. And I think the shock could be a freeze reaction. When I read about it in the books, they say that a kidney shock is actually it will pass after some time, but the problem is to keep the patient alive while it's happening. And in this case, my mother-in-law was too old to get into a dialysis, where they pump the blood around and purify it. And when the kidneys are not working, the body stops detoxing, and you die actually from being polluted. And from all the blood pressure and everything will stop working. So she died actually without knowing she was going to die. Very, very, very sudden. The electrolytes, the salts that is taken care of and that is balancing also is the sodium chloride and real eatable salt, what we have inside us, the magnesium, the calcium, and the potassium, which are the electrolytes. Where the salt will make the blood flow be higher, the potassium, or the K, it's called, kalium, I think it's called in Danish, will make it fall. So there are different chemicals that are supporting each other in making the balance. The blood pressure is also in charge of the oxygen and the fluid level. It's all together. So what I wanted to tell you about is the ADH production. Uh, that is anti-diuretic hormone production. And the diuretic means that the water will leave the body. ADH will keep the water inside. And that's a very important part of the kidney function because it will keep the water inside, for example, during night when we sleep. Why is it that some of us have not been able to keep ourselves dry when we were kids? I had some years, and my mother thought it's psychological, and many people say it's psychological, but it could also be because there's an unbalance in the pituitary and hypothalamus, because ADH is synthesized in the hypothalamus and the pituitary is secreting it. And if you don't have enough ADH, then you will not you will have to pee a lot of times in the night and might not even wake up when you have to do it. So that's I found interesting. Another thing is that if you have too much ADH, then your salt level will go up, and you will also have a lot of water in your body. But it's not that simple that you just drink a lot of water to get the salt out. It's the kidneys that have to excrete them. Um, and that's right. ADH, it conserves water in the body, and alcohol decreases the level. So that's why many people, when they're drunk, they pee in their pants because their ADH is falling. Um, and when you have too much water in the body, the fluid spills up. You get a fluid overload, and as I said, the salt level raises. And too little, you get a low blood pressure. It's another thing. If your pee is smelling bad, you probably have an infection somewhere. It could be, and if it's not clear, it could be also part of infection that is excreted through the urine. And if it has a lot of foam, it could be due to proteins that some kind of leak inside the kidney's purification system could cause that. Okay, now we will start by soothing the kidneys. So in my therapy, I'm working with 4 basic emotions. 1, I'm not good enough. 2, I don't belong. 3, I don't want to be here. 4, I'm not allowed to be here. Doesn't matter what is number 1 and all this, but these 3. So I'm not good enough, I don't belong, I don't want to be here, I'm not allowed to be here. It's not that you have to cry for yourself with all these feelings, but it's basic feelings and you can connect other emotions to it also. For example, I'm not lovable. Of course you're lovable, but you can have that pattern inside you because you took it in when you were a small child. So if you have that, it could very likely sit in your kidneys because the kidneys are carrying the fear of not being correct, or worries and all these kind of things. So if they're sitting in there, we will now try to calm down the kidneys in order that they can receive the energy we'll give it after in the second meditation. So choose one of the 4 sentences, and now when we're going into the kidneys, you will say the opposite to the kidneys. You will say, I love you, I give you unconditional love. Maybe you just think like this, because you are good enough. I am good enough, or I belong, or I want to be here, and I am wanted here, So now we start. First, we will just sing on one note. You just like to say mm, and you breathe deeply into your stomach. See that your stomach is going out when you breathe in and will be contracted inside when you sing. Now we will just scan down the body here, and you will imagine that you touch yourself very softly all over with the M sound. You can sing however you want, just humming like you're a small child. And you can use your hand also too, without touching, just waving through your aura, your energy field. You sing whatever you like, you don't have to follow me. And think about the unconditional love you have, and think about the anti sentence you have for that negative basic feeling. I am good enough. I am unconditional love. I am wanted. I want to be here. I am unconditional love. I'm good enough and I belong, and I can be as different as I want. I belong, I'm unconditional love. And now you can put your hands on your kidneys, on your back, a little bit higher than the lower back, and you can sit, wave a little bit back and forth. Sing for your kidneys. And it's very nice to lean back and forwards because it's moving also the fluid inside the spine. That's why many kids and some autists are also sitting like this again and again. So now we have the kidneys, and we are going to now activate the kidneys. Oh, very nice. We love you, kidneys. So wonderful kidneys. I mean, so many wonderful kidneys in the world. Amazing. So now we will go to the pineal gland in the center of the brain. It's sitting in the back of an inbuilt bird head shaped central nerve system. We will imagine it's small like a pine nut and just try to get in touch with it. Now, don't worry if you don't get in touch with it. We will go on to hypothalamus in one moment. And remember not to sing, but let the sound of should be a cat's purr, the sound. When you activate the pineal gland, you will have melatonin, and that's a very good antioxidant. And it will also activate the sulfate, which is purifying your cells at night. After the next breath, we're going to hypothalamus, which is the beak of the bird's head, and it's pointing forward. It's going forward towards the forehead. And now we will ask hypothalamus to balance the level of HDH, the anti-diuretic hormone, so that we will have exactly the right fluid balance we need for our body, and the right salt and body salt balance also. So we will add an M to the hum. So you're actually saying an hum, and then you add an M, and you do it as well as you can. Into the hypothalamus, the beak. You might feel that part of your brain start to vibrate. Now we go on to the pituitary, because you should never do this longer than 3 minutes at a time, because it could add too much energy to one place, and that will create heat, and that's not good. So better go to another place. You can come back later. Pituitary, which is hanging like as an opposite heart out of the beak here, and it's just over the nasal cavity inside our head. And we add the M. And we asked also the pituitary to balance our liquid and our salts and the electrolytes in our body. Now we go on. We go down to the thyroid in the throat. We go on to the thymus gland, the one that is in charge of maturing T cells, which is a part of the killer cells in the immune system. So it's very good if you have a cancer. Sitting here. And we're going on down to the pancreas, because the pancreas is also involved in the kidney system or the bladder system, because the kidneys are it's purifying all the water, the liquids that's coming through, and it will give back sugar. For example, if it finds excess sugar, it will give it back to the body if it's a balanced process. And therefore, if the kidney is not working properly and it will not get the sugar back, the pancreas will have a problem of diabetes. So we go on with the pancreas. It's sitting like a boomerang in the center of where under our ribs, and it's pointing to the left. And now we are going through, we just go through again up from the throat and all the way down, but we go through the blood veins. They're here. They're called the renal artery and vein. These two will go all the way down here from the throat and into the kidneys, and they're going along the spine. Two big veins. And they'll go into both the kidneys, both of them. They are like making branches down there. And you will feel it. You can feel them from the front, deep inside, or you can go and have your hand in the back, like you please, as you please. Now we're going into the kidneys, in through the veins, inside the kidneys. There are 7 medullas, like ports or openings there, that is purifying all the blood and the fluids there. If you rather would take one kidney at a time, you can do how you please. We'll have some time here. The adrenal glands, which are sitting in top of the kidneys, we will not go into now because it's more complicated, but you can energize them if you want. They're sitting like 2 small heads in top of the kidneys. maybe you will start to feel some vibration there. That means that the kidney is answering you. You start a communication with your kidneys, and the kidney will welcome you. It's happy that you finally see it, feel it, help it, support it. And if you were not in the, if you only were in one side, also try the other sides. The kidneys are like two big brown beans, and they're sitting looking at each other from each side of the spine. Now try both of them if you didn't already do it, because now we have contact to both of them. Maybe you can feel a certain part that needs more attention than other parts. For example, I feel some missing in the lower right part of my kidney, so I'll give it a little bit extra. You can do wherever you find it's necessary. And now we go on. We will leave the kidneys, we'll go out of the kidneys through the veins, and we'll continue down along the veins, along the spine, and it will divide out to each side of the bladder and down into the legs. Just follow them all the way. Out of the kidneys from each side. Into the center along the spine. And just over the bladder, that is around 25 centimeters from where you came out. It's like under the, it's 1/2 of the width under the navel. With dividing in two and just continuing down into the legs. And you can pull it again from the kidney and all the way down, because we are taking now some of the toxins down through the blood, and we're trying to get some grounding also, that it will be excreted this way. And we talk about toxic emotions that are going out now through the legs. You're escorting them out. And you feel gratitude the moment they are leaving your body through the soles of your feet. Down into a big hole in the ground. Where you cover them now with your feet and hands, you close it, put all the bad emotions that you've been carrying down there. Oh, oh. Great. So now we are going up back to the kidneys, and now we're going into the ureter. That means the yellow ones that the here in the illustration, where the urine will be excreted into the bladder. Before the urine is excreted, it's been very well examined for uh, good products that it might have had in it, and these products have been sorted out by the kidneys and given back to the places where they belong. For example, the sugar to the pancreas and the salt to the blood, and so on. But the excess salt is excreted, excess minerals, vitamins, and all this is excreted through the urine. That's why, for example, your urine, when you eat B vitamin, will be totally yellow. So we are going through the ureter, from the kidneys and down to the bladder. And now when you reach the bladder, stay there, take care of your bladder. Some people's bladder are really worn out because you have, as if you have a prostate problem, or you could have a problem of not being able to, keep your water inside. Try to strengthen the muscles there. It's like a small UFO there. And if you start yawning at me, it's because you get something that if you get released something, then you might yawn. That's very natural. So or it start saying sounds down that can also be from the stomach. You might feel a lot of heat there now because if you have water or urine in your bladder, then that will vibrate too, and you will actually structure the water there while singing for it. It's getting restructured. We know that because you can see that you get more energy when you sing, and also water. If you sing for a glass of water, the taste is better after. It's something happening with the structure. It's a new name now, came Bladder Song. There's actually a film, I think it's from China, a hospital where they use sound, an alternative holistic hospital, where I think it's 3 men that are singing an mantra while a woman is scanned and she has a tumor inside her bladder. And while they're saying hum, shing, hum, shing, shing, hum, something like that, and they're saying it again and again, in 3 minutes, the you can see on the scanning that it's disappearing while they sing. So things can happen by using your voice. And if you would meet something, let's say you had a tumor inside your bladder or something was wrong, and you'll meet something, the same thing is for the kidneys that need certain attention, then the sound might change, but let it be, continue, let it express itself, and see it as an expression from the organ that you're singing for, and continue until the sound is getting smooth again. Then you have figured it out, then it's finished. And now we go on, like if we had to pee, we'll go out of the small pipe down here. Women have a small pipe, that's why we are easier can have an infection in the bladder, because we don't have such a long pipe before the urine will exit. But the men has, of course, a longer one, and it's going all the way down here. But the problem for the men is that they have this prostate, and quite many men, when they are passing the 40-50s, they start to have an enlarged prostate. So let's just, women, you can sing for your pipe down, but the man, we could also sing for the man just to help them. So try to think about all men in the world and that have an enlarged prostate, and then let's sing for that prostate, that it will detox the toxins that's sitting there and creating an infection, that makes it enlarged. They say also that it's a testosterone level that is very high that could create it. Nobody actually knows exactly what's creating the prostate if we come to the core of it. But we try now just to balance it so it will come back to normal size. Yeah, I got help from above for that. I saw some light. Very good. I hope really it helps somebody out there. And men, you can sing more for it, or women can sing for the man's prostate. So now we got down here, and now we will go up through the spine, find the coccyx where the tailbone is, and we will balance with the hum all the way up, joint by joint, up to the neck, joint by joint, over the skull into, but before that into the autonomic nerve system, the brain stem that's sitting in the neck. Just stay a little bit here, because here we have all the autonomic reactions, and these also are connected with the bladder and the kidneys. So just massage yourself in the neck with this sound. Up and down. We go on up over the skull. And into the fontanelle here up in the top, and into the pineal, which is placed as in the center of the brain, the one that was in the neck of the bird's head. And you can also imagine it to be full of light. It's the only gland in the body that is having crystals inside it. Find it, it's a very tiny one, but you'll feel a very nice feeling when you get it. It's like a smooth, soothing feeling. You get a little bit relaxed when you do it, you hit it. And now the M is more wide, so it's maybe a little bit less precise. It's a hung. So if you want to have the hung to be precise and to order to find the pineal, you can do that too. And you will feel the difference in the two sounds. Oh, I got it immediately. Then the melatonin is coming, and you might yawn and be coming already a little bit tired, but that's good because you'll have a good sleep. And then we'll just go out a little bit in the universe. We will fold out our antenna, and we will, you can do it on hummmm or hummmm. It's a wider antenna, bigger antenna when you use the hung, or the smaller one when you use the hung. It's like more antennas inside each other when we use the hung, it seems like. And also we are sending out peace and love through this, a wish of balance on earth. And we shouldn't get lost out there, so we better continue down in the middle. And now it starts to do echo here. Slowly, slowly, you're spiraling back into the soft fontanelle, back into the pineal gland, and you hum without the NG, just to close the energy field. We thank for all the detox, all the purification, all the balancing of our organism, and also of this earth and the universe. Around the head in the energy field, soft, slow movements while you hum your own melody. Just improvise. And you go all the way to your legs, to your feet, farther out in your energy field, and just enjoy how nice this feels. Unconditional love. You are unconditional love. We are unconditional love. I am unconditional love. Unconditional love. You are unconditional love. Thank you. I wish to share with you a fruit that can help you to detox your kidneys, and that is the watermelon. The watermelon is purifying your kidneys, and you will have to go to the bathroom quite many times, but it's a pleasant fasting because you can eat as much watermelon as you want, and you're getting quite full of it in a way. You're light but full, and you can add a little bit lemon to it or lime with a little bit mint leaves, and that will make it delicious. Another thing that can suit your kidneys are the beech bark. You can make tea from this, and dandelions, tea from that, and horsetail. It's just here. Now it's a little bit dry, but the horsetail is very, very common. So thank you for joining my webinar. See you next time. Bye.
I'll pray for thee.
Bless the meek and the poor ones. Bless the